Hi, so I'm just making a little video here for people who have the test coming up, because I keep finding people, whether they've been instructed by me or other people, or maybe you haven't done lessons in a while, maybe forget some of the parts that are involved in the test, and some little tips and tricks to think of as you approach your test, and also some very important checks. So here goes. I'll try and do it as quick as I can. And by the way, if you like this video, remember I have a load of videos on my online video course at brendantierney.schoolofmotoring.com, and I'll talk about them a little bit later on. So I also people about a week before your test, make sure you check your car. You must ensure that your brake lights and indicators especially working. Like obviously all lights should be working, but make sure they are working. If they're not, get them changed. Even have some spare bulbs. God forbid the day of the test you could hit a speed bump, or not a speed bump, even a pothole, whatever, go into the test centre, and that could knock one of your bulbs out. So maybe just having a spare set in the boot. Some bulbs are quite easy to change, so maybe even YouTube that in advance, so if anything happens you can change them yourself. Make sure you have all your paperwork. Make sure tax, NCT, insurance in the car is all up to date, okay? Like sometimes the insurance is just up a week before and you have a letter from the insurance company saying, oh, this will cover you. It won't do for the test. You must have the official certs in your windscreen, okay? So make sure that's all tidied up now. Make sure you know who your license is. Make sure you know your license is in date. It's amazing over the years the different things I've seen happen with people. So just make sure all your paperwork, because any of those things ain't there, you ain't doing your test. In advance, you know that you're going to be asked rules of the road signs, hand signals. And again, I've had pupils come from maybe other instructors, or again, if you haven't done lessons in a while, they forget, oh yeah, you're going to be asked these things. So start studying those now. And if you want to message me, I'll tell you there's a great book that is everything nice and concise and all in one quick summary, which is very useful for you to know. You will be asked under the bonnet to open the bonnet, barring it's bad weather. You may not be asked, but make sure you know the parts of your engine, okay? Learn how to open the bonnet, whether it's your car or your instructor's car or whatever. Make sure you're familiar with those things. Again, I've had people come not understand, they'd be asked that. Plan for nerves. Plan now. Don't be planning in the morning of it going, oh, what if I get nervous? And I've been talking about this for over 10 years with pupils. Like visualize sitting in the test centre getting nervous. And I mean, do this at home. Close your eyes. Just imagine you sit in the test centre and imagine you getting nervous. And then you have like a trigger point to go, okay, well, I'll do my breathing, whether it's belly breathing, a little mini meditation. And belly breathing is like breathing out, like make yourself fat, kind of, if you understand what I'm saying. You inflate your belly rather than like, because that actually makes you nearly hyperventilate and it closes in your lungs. So breathing up and down like that is not good. So these are tiny things. Just learn, or think in advance, I should say, that you may get nervous. And it's okay to be nervous, because nerves create adrenaline, which creates focus. So even though you may be nervous, if you've planned that, yes, I'll be nervous, then you won't maybe freak out and get a little fright the morning of the test in the test centre, okay? So remember, just plan ahead and maybe do that little bit of meditation. There's other things like Rescue Remedy, which is drops or sweets. I mean, they're not prescription. They're just basic things you can buy in different shops and chemists. If you feel that's any help to you, then use it, okay? So again, visualize. And equally visualize that you conk out the car. You know, that's not a fail if you conk out the car. Obviously, depending where or the scenario, if whatever. But in general, if just conking out quickly at a junction, that's not a fail. So don't think it is. I've had someone pass the test before who conked 3 times. But if you visualize a week before the test, close your eyes, you're in the car, you've conked the car, and you just go, what do? I make sure I press the brake, I get back into gear, or I take it out of gear, handbrake on, whatever it needs, but just don't roll, So once you conk, have yourself prepped to go. I know what I'm going to do, make sure I don't roll, I'll reset, turn on the car again, quick look around and move off if it's safe to do so. So even prepping yourself mentally for something like that will mean on the day of the test, when it happens, you won't have this big jump of nerves. And I haven't reading off a little list here because it's quite a lot of little things. On the day of your test, a couple of simple things people might forget. Don't bring someone to the test centre that's nervous. I've often had people bring friends, parents, family members with them, and they're more nervous than the pupil, and they transmit those nerves onto the pupil. So simple things like, let them drive to the test centre. Don't you drive and some little glitch happens where you get jumpy and then they freak out. So tell them in advance the day before, look, you're bringing me to the test centre tomorrow. I'm going to wear headphones. I'm going to be really quiet. Don't think I'm being rude. Just leave me to kind of get ready for the test. And you'll drive the car for me and you'll park the car in. So small things like that. You're supposed to be there 15 minutes for the test. Obviously, if you can, you should. If for any reason you get caught in a little bit of traffic, don't panic. Like if you're there, even at the exact time of your test, even if you're that little bit late as regards the 15 minutes, which you're there on time for test, it's usually fine. If you're 5 minutes before the test there, that's usually fine. But yes, of course, try to be there 15 minutes. But I'm just saying, in case you get delayed, please don't let that get you more nervous and end up maybe failing your test over it. Again, I've spoken earlier on about planning when you're in the test centre, meditate, breathe. Again, even in the test when you're doing manoeuvres, like pause, think before you do one of the maneuvers, you know what I mean? So I'll get to that a bit more details in a moment. I have little things where I tell people to put a big X here on your knuckles. So when you're holding the steering wheel, that X is looking at you, okay? And it might catch your attention a couple of times in the test. And I would teach this with my pupils. I say that X is me, like your instructor. And they could be in the test daydreaming, which you believe me, you will do it sometimes. But that might just go, oh, am I not focusing? Oh, did I do my signal the last? Am I concentrating? So that's one tiny tip. You don't have to do, but it could be something simple that might help you. I tell people put elastic band on your hand. And again, very more so before you do when the maneuvers, hill start, left, reverse, turnabout, you might just snap that. It's just like a little mental snap to kind of go, right, I may have made mistakes in previous few minutes in the test. You've got to be positive minded and just go blank that out. Just snap yourself back into the zone before you start one of the maneuvers. Again, these aren't essential things you have to do. These are my own little tips that I use. And on the day of the test, when you get there, most test centres, and I know in Sligo here, there is a toilet, so just so you know that there will be one there, because that could make you nervous going, oh, maybe there's no toilet there. Bring your water with you. You may have a little sip of water during the test, obviously only maybe before a manoeuvre or something, or pre-test if you want to have a drink of water. Some people might have a vape or whatever it is, but like, you can't vape in the test. But just, and what I'm saying is when you arrive at the test centre, you might want to go, well, I'll have a little walk, maybe I'll have a vape, maybe I'll have a drink of water, whatever it is, just to know, to bring those small little things with you. During the test itself, a couple of little things, like don't be afraid to ask the tester if you didn't hear the instruction or to repeat the instruction. You know, they're there to assist you, okay? They're not going to laugh at you or get angry at you. Just say, sorry, did you say this? Would you say that way? Or even before the maneuvers, if you had a moment, maybe something went a little bit wrong in the last few minutes of the test, you might say to them, look, can I just take a moment here? And I mean, like, might be 5 or 10 seconds. Just take a breath, compose yourself, and they'll usually go, of course you can. Even in the test centre, don't be afraid to say to them, look, sometimes I get my left and rights mixed up. Now, it's not that they can categorically definitely accommodate that, but even they are human and they're there to help you, that they might understand if you just kind of do the wrong signal the first time, but then correct it, you know. Simple things like that. Communicate the tester, you know. I also say, don't be looking at the tester. So when they're marking, you'll be driving and you might see them out the side of your eye. You'll be like driving along and then you kind of go, oh God, they're touching their iPad and giving, oh, that's a mark. It might be a grade 1. If you don't understand marking system, let me know and I can send you another video on that. So grade 1 doesn't have any effect on your result at all. So that's what I'm saying. You know, try as best you can not to be looking at the tester, and you will inevitably see them maybe popping a little mark on the sheet. And if you've done something obvious, like maybe you go, oh, I did forget my signal, or I was a bit wobbly on the lane there, whatever, sometimes you'll know I've made a little mistake. You just get over it. You just move on. You move on all the time. But if you're looking at the tester, then you're clearly not looking at the road, which will lead to more marks. So just ignore what they're doing. And if you see the mark and you go, God, I didn't do anything, excuse me, I didn't do anything obvious, it's probably a grade 1, okay? So just stay optimistic, stay positive, okay? I say to my pupils, every time the tester talks, and I'm sure, hopefully you all know what MSMM is, mirror, signal, mirror, maneuver, and I kind of shorten it really quick to go MSM. So when the tester opens their mouth and gives you instruction, have a routine going MSM. Say that to yourself, because most of the time when they give you an instruction, you'll have to check mirrors and you'll have to put on a signal. Nearly every time. You know, there might be 1 or 2 instances where it won't require that. But if you say that little trigger of 3 letters to yourself, then you will be prepped for the next thing. You won't forget the obvious things like forgetting a signal, forgetting mirrors, etc. So it's just a little tip again I give. And another one I say to my pupils is new road, new observations. So you turn into a new road and you immediately should go reset and go, right, let's scan ahead. Is there speed bumps? Is there pedestrian crossing? Is there kids playing? Is there parked cars? And if you do that as soon as you go in the road, you won't get a fright at the last minute going, oh God, the speed limit changes here. So scan ahead. But again, it's just little trigger phrases I find really helpful with pupils. New road, new observations. So every time you jump a new road, it's like, okay, next page of the test. Like treat it like a book. Page 1, page 2. Keep resetting, okay? For example, if like don't think you failed, don't fail yourself. The tester will do that if you have it, okay? You have to stay optimistic. Okay, for example, if you rubbed a curb doing one of the maneuvers, that's not technically a fail. If you mount a curb, of course, that is. But like I've had a tester say if someone just lightly tipped the curb, for example, in the turnabout, they said, Ara, I mightn't even mark them. Now that's all down to human decision. So I'm not saying if you touch a curb, you won't get a mark. It technically is. But I'm just saying to stay optimistic and stay positive. So if you do that, don't be like, oh no, I failed now. No, just stay positive and just remember there is a human marking you and they will make their own judgments on how your driving is, okay? And also never, ever, 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 ever give up, okay? And I've had this people who they admitted afterwards, oh, I made one mistake and I kind of give up. You'd be surprised. I had one person before who, after the test, they did fail and they said, oh, I made a mess. I thought I mounted the curb on a junction, just turning at a sharp end. They thought their back wheel went up on the curb. And they said, I just gave up after that. When I went back, the tester actually told me, oh, no, you didn't fail there. You know, they had failed because of multiple mistakes, because they kind of lost their positive attitude and they started giving up. What they had done at that point was they had actually driven down into a little drain beside the curb. They didn't mount the curb at all. So that's an example of making sure you don't give up yourself. You wait till the tester tells you the result at the end of the test. All right, whatever you do, do not give up. Okay. And again, if you like what I've given you here, the information, this is just some of the stuff I give all my pupils, but I've created a suite of videos which is on Brendan Tierney, www.brendantierney.schoolofmotoring.com. Now, they do not replace driving lessons, just make sure you're clear on that, but they will aid you as you learn, whether it's with me, whether it's at home with parents, and especially if you're coming up to the test. There is loads of little tips and tricks. A lot of learning to drive and getting ready for the driving test is knowledge. It's not actually driving skill. Most people after 8-10 lessons are able to drive, but then they forget, like shoulder check versus the blind spot check. You know, little simple things like that are the difference in the test. So just if you're trying to understand what the videos are for or who they're for everyone that's learning and everyone that has a test coming up. And I suppose I've actually drive around routes of the Sligo, some of the Sligo test routes. Okay, and I'm adding videos all the time. So Brendan Tierney, schoolofmotoring.com, and like it's for less than the price of a lesson. You get 1 month's access, and if you're a real beginner, maybe 6 months access is probably best for you. But you'll see it all on my website there. If you have any queries or questions, let me know. But just remember, they do not replace lessons. They are a specific aid to coincide with you learning to drive, whether it's yourself at home with family or whether it's an instructor, or even if it's not me. You will definitely find these videos beneficial. If you don't, as I say to everybody, I will give you a full refund. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, pop me a message or an email anytime. Thank you.